If Bethesda repeats the mistakes it made with Starfield in The Elder Scrolls 6, the game we have been waiting for all these years could turn into a huge disappointment. After Skyrim, the RPG world changed a lot. People no longer want to just take quests, kill enemies, and open chests. They want to truly live inside that world, feel the weight of wars, receive unforgettable rewards from the places they discover, and see that their decisions actually change the fate of Tamriel. That is why today, we are looking at 5 critical changes players want. Changes that could determine the fate of The Elder Scrolls 6. Number 1. Modern combat mechanics need to feel powerful. The first major thing The Elder Scrolls 6 needs to fix is the combat system. Skyrim was incredible for its time, nobody can deny that. But if a new Elder Scrolls game comes out today with the same hit feeling, the same enemy reactions, and the same simple melee system, that will no longer be enough. Players want to truly feel like they are hitting something when they swing a sword. The weight of the impact, the enemy staggering back, shields clashing, and the effect of spells should be clearly felt on screen. The point here is not that The Elder Scrolls 6 should turn into Elden Ring or Dark Souls. Elder Scrolls should still keep its own identity. But combat should no longer stay at the level of left click and reduce the health bar. When our sword hits an enemy's shield, we should hear the heavy metallic sound. When we swing a heavy axe, that weight should be felt in the character's movement. When playing with a dagger, speed and agility should stand out, and when using a two-handed warhammer, power and destruction should come to the front. Enemy AI should also be one of the most important parts of this system. Bandits should not behave like targets simply running toward us. Trained soldiers should block, mages should keep their distance, archers should climb to higher positions, and wild creatures should make more unpredictable attacks. A creature we encounter in a cave and an armored guard we fight in a castle should not feel the same. Every enemy type should come with its own tactics, its own rhythm, and its own danger. The better the combat system is in The Elder Scrolls 6, the stronger the whole game will feel. Because in this world, we will enter dungeons hundreds of times, encounter creatures, clear bandit camps, and maybe even find ourselves in the middle of major wars. If combat becomes boring after the first few hours, even the most beautiful world can start to feel tiring after a while. But if Bethesda truly improves the hit feeling, animations, enemy reactions, and different combat styles, the gameplay side of The Elder Scrolls 6 can become much longer lasting. Number 2. Meaningful loot and exploration need to return. Exploration is at the heart of the Elder Scrolls series. While walking across the map, you see a strange tower in the distance, notice a cave hidden between the mountains, or come across an ancient ruin in the forest that nobody ever mentioned. That is the moment when the Elder Scrolls magic begins. But for that magic to truly work, what we find at the end of that exploration also needs to be meaningful. Because when a player clears a dangerous dungeon and opens the final chest, they do not want to see an ordinary sword, a few pieces of gold, and forgettable armor. In The Elder Scrolls 6, every reward should not be just about stats. The value of a weapon should not only be measured by its damage points. A piece of armor should not only matter because it gives more protection. Players now want the items they find to have a story. For example, a sword we find in the tomb of an old warrior should be connected to that warrior's past. A ring we find in an abandoned temple should remind us of the dark rituals of the cult that once lived there. The loot we find in the deepest part of a cave should explain why that place exists. Imagine entering a dungeon, and inside, there are not only enemies but also environmental storytelling. Old writings on the walls, an unfinished journal on the ground, broken statues, burned books, and at the end, a special item that connects all of these pieces together. That is when the reward no longer feels like loot coming out of a chest. It feels like the finale of the place you explored. When the player puts that item in their inventory, they value it not only because it is powerful, but because they know where it came from. The exploration system in The Elder Scrolls 6 should not fall into a map-clearing mentality. Every cave, every castle, every ruin, and every hidden area should make the player say, "I am glad I came here." Sometimes it can be a very powerful weapon, sometimes a special spell, sometimes unique armor, and sometimes just an unforgettable story that helps us understand the world better. Because in Elder Scrolls, the best moments often do not happen while following the main quest, but while chasing our own curiosity. Number 3. Survival and immersion details could change the game. The Elder Scrolls 6 does not need to completely turn into a survival game. Nobody wants to deal with a hunger bar, thirst warning, or tiring mechanics every 5 minutes. But if used correctly, survival and immersion details can make Tamriel feel much more real. Players now want their characters to feel not like war machines running from quest to quest, but like people who are truly living inside this world. If we are passing through a cold mountain road, the weather conditions should matter. Before setting out on a long journey, buying food, preparing camping equipment, or resting at an inn should mean something. If a character fights, runs, and explores dungeons for days without ever getting tired, the world starts to feel a little artificial. But if our character can rest by a fire, take shelter in an inn from the rain, and need warm clothes in snowy regions, then the journey becomes more personal. The secret of this system should be balance. If it is too harsh, it can annoy the player. But if it is optional, smart, and built to strengthen the atmosphere, it can take the game to a completely different level. For example, in normal mode, these details could be lighter, while in survival mode, they could work in a deeper way. This way, players who want to focus only on adventure can do that, while players who want to play like a traveler truly trying to survive in Tamriel can do that too. This flexibility would serve different playstyles very well. The best part of the Elder Scrolls is that it gives players the feeling of writing their own story. Someone wants to be a warrior. Someone wants to be a mage. Someone wants to be a thief. Someone wants to be a hunter. And someone wants to be a lonely traveler moving from city to city. Survival and immersion details can make these fantasies much stronger. Because eating at an inn, setting up camp, sleeping under the stars, or preparing before entering a dangerous area may look like small details, but they strengthen the soul of the RPG experience in an incredible way. Number 4. Cities and NPCs need to feel truly alive. Cities should not just be big, they should feel truly alive. In many open-world games today, cities look impressive at first, but after spending some time there, you realize that the people are just decoration. NPCs stand in the same place, repeat the same lines, and the world feels frozen until the player arrives. The Elder Scrolls 6 has to break that feeling. Because in a next-generation Elder Scrolls world, cities should look like they continue living even when the player is not there. We should see merchants shouting in the market in the morning, blacksmiths working in their workshops at noon, drunk people fighting in inns in the evening, and thieves whispering in dark streets at night. A city should not be made up only of buildings. It should feel like a place with habits, rumors, crimes, fears, and secrets. We should feel that an NPC does not exist only to give us a quest, but has their own life, their own work, and their own problems. Cities should also react to events happening in the world. If there is a war nearby, prices in the market could change. If the roads become dangerous, merchants might stop coming to the city. If a faction gains power, the guards' uniforms, dialogue, and behavior could change. If the player becomes a famous hero, people should look at them differently. If the player becomes someone feared, some people should change their path, some should whisper, and some should try to take advantage of it. A system like this could make the Elder Scrolls 6 truly feel next generation. Because big cities alone are not enough. What matters is that we want to spend time inside those cities. The player should return to a city not only to shop or take quests, but because they are curious about what is happening there. They should feel that people change, rumors spread, events develop, and the world continues to flow even when the player is not around. Only then can Tamriel truly look like a living world. Number 5. Player choices need to have real consequences. This may be the most important issue. Choices need to have real consequences. Because at the heart of a good RPG, there is not just character progression, leveling up, or finding new equipment. The real issue is that the decisions we make leave a mark on the world. When the player makes a choice, they do not want it to change only a few dialogue lines. They want to see its consequences even hours later. Being able to say, "This city changed because of me," or "I affected the course of this war," is the foundation of the true RPG feeling. Saving a town should not end only with a quest completed message. That town should actually change. People should remember us, new merchants should arrive, buildings should be repaired, and maybe that place should slowly turn into a safer region. On the other hand, if we fail to protect an area, people should migrate, roads should become dangerous, and enemies should take control of that place. The player's success and failure should both be visible in the world. Factions should also be at the center of this system. Joining a guild, supporting a kingdom, working with rebels, helping criminal organizations, or getting closer to a religious side should not be limited to a few quest chains. These choices should be able to affect the political structure of cities, how people behave toward us, quests that open and close, and even the control of certain regions. This way, every player's Tamriel turns into a different story. If the Elder Scrolls 6 achieves this, the game will stop being just a big open world and become a true RPG shaped by the player. Better graphics impress for a while. A bigger map is exciting at first. But years later, what players remember is how their decisions changed the world. What Bethesda needs to do here is very clear. Not just let the player travel through Tamriel, but give them a real role in Tamriel's fate. In short, the Elder Scrolls 6 cannot just be a prettier-looking version of Skyrim. This time, Bethesda has to make combat stronger, exploration more meaningful, the world more livable, cities more alive, and choices truly consequential. Because after such a long wait, players do not just want a new Elder Scrolls game. They want to see the leader of next-generation RPGs. So what is your biggest fear from Bethesda? A weak combat system, an open world that feels empty, or are decisions changing nothing again? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do not